Make their hearts skip a beat this Valentine's Day with Edible. With same-day delivery or local pickup, effortless gifting is just a click away. Choose from iconic chocolate-dipped strawberries, fresh arrangements, or decadent baked treats for your someone special. Order at edible.com or your local store.
Not sure if you have the experience to start your dream job? Good news. These days, it's the skills that count. Udemy can help you get those in-demand skills. Want to be an AI mastermind? Learn with us. Game developer? We've got you covered. AWS certified cloud practitioner? We can help you prep. You'll learn from real-world experts who love what they do so that you can love what you do. Go to udemy.com for the skills to get you started and get set for your dream job.
What is going on, Canes fam? The time is almost upon us. Who would have thought, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 5 years ago, that the Miami Hurricanes will be playing for a national championship, and not only a natty, but a natty at The Rock, one of the most insane feelings in the world. But today I get to share that experience. I get to share that feeling. And today we got my boy, Gaby from 247. What's going on, Gaby? Welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for joining me to share this experience with me.
You're hyping me up, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm ready to... Man, it is wild just being in this situation. Just Miami playing for a national championship. I was just talking to my boys, and it's just like, dude, it still doesn't feel real to me that this is happening. So, man, just so pumped about all of this.
And I mean, dude, it's funny because you have had, your experience seeing this from a different level than the fans. Obviously, you've been, pretty involved in the program, seeing that program build up to the level it is. Is this something you saw coming, or is this something that you felt coming? Did you think that this will happen this year? I mean, kind of go through, because you've seen, obviously from your end, you've seen this team develop. You've seen the guys are bringing in, the character, all that good stuff. How have you seen kind of this culmination of talent, coaching, everything kind of come together to put us in this position right now?
Yeah, it starts with Mario Cristobal. Just going out and getting him from Oregon was the key to all of this, right? And he's just a maniacal recruiter. We saw that from day one. And there was no question that when he got here, the talent on the roster was going to be better. There was no doubt that this was just going to be a better team. It was just going to be a matter of time. And saw it coming for sure, just because I'm in the talent acquisition space, right? So I'm all up in the weeds of the recruiting and the transfer portal and all that stuff, aside from the day-to-day stuff that go on with the team. So you definitely saw that this roster was super talented. This team was just getting more and more talented. And I think as you kind of started to watch this team prepare for this season, you're like, man, this team is deep, right? That's the way that we described this team, was just like, it's just so well-rounded. Like, it's hard to poke holes in this roster because they had that really bad defense in 2024, that elite offense. And this year it felt like they cleaned up the defense, and maybe not quite as elite of an offense, but it just felt like it was so complementary. And man, this roster was built to win. And we felt like this was a college football playoff team going into the season. We felt like this was an ACC championship caliber team going into the season. Obviously, there were some hiccups along the way. But to me, there was never a doubt about the overall talent on this roster. There's no doubt about Mario Cristobal being the right guy to put all these pieces together and build it towards a championship caliber roster. That's what this is. This truly is a championship caliber roster that's just firing on all cylinders right now. Watching them play right now is just a lot of fun, because you're seeing that talent not just on paper and looking and being like, this team should be one of the best in the country. It's like, no, this team is one of the best in the country. They're going to have a chance to prove that they're the best team in the country. And it's been amazing, man. It's been amazing to watch it. To say I expected a national championship appearance this year, I would be lying to you. But I definitely thought that this was a team that was good enough to make the playoff. And as we saw, man, you get in and anything can happen.
I mean, brother, just the fact that we got the opportunity to get in there, and then, it wasn't an easy road for us. Obviously, we had to go to Kyle Field, play against Texas A&M over there, the winds, the weather that was over there. Then you have to go to the Cotton Bowl, play against Ohio State, one of the favorites for the national championship. Then you have to go against Ole Miss with the storyline, obviously Trinidad Chambliss. They didn't care for that whole thing going on, and then you go through all that. You kind of, did you see this? Did you see this team get stronger through those victories and through those games and through, having to deal with being, for the most part, the underdogs and all those stories outside of Ole Miss? They were, no one really picked us to be here. So did you see that kind of personality being undertaken? I mean, I think a lot of people have seen, especially on Instagram, that this team is like, please pick against us, because you have to strap it up. You have to put on the chin strap. You have to put on the pads, Do you think that just, how do you think that team's kind of like embodied that feeling of, the way I call it is fuck you football? How do you think they kind of embodied that?
Definitely. I mean, I think this team's the perfect embodiment of that. They love that underdog mentality, and they were favorites all year, right? I mean, in every game they played this year, except the Notre Dame game, they were the favorites, and they were expected to win. And I think they got into the playoff, and then everyone kind of just started to throw dirt on them, like this team doesn't really have a chance to compete. And Texas A&M came out firing from the hip, with the offensive tackle saying like, oh, like Ruben Bain's not going to be an issue. And man, this is a team full of alphas, man. Like truly, like this team is. These guys are dogs. Like Keontae Scott, Ruben Bain, like they will take any. Like it doesn't take anything to fire them up, but any little you give them, they're gonna use that as rocket fuel, man, to just go and just pocket that and use that as motivation to just go. And I think they've shown that every step of this way. The track to get to this point for Miami is insane.
Yeah,
like you said, you have to go and beat Texas A&M, who 2 weeks before that was like the number two team in the country, right?
They were
a top 5 team all season. You have to play Ohio State, who's the defending national champions. They were number 1 all season, and they were number 2 because they barely lost in the Big Ten championship game. And truthfully, a game that they should have won. That they really gave that game away. And then you have to go play Ole Miss, who's just like Cinderella storyline with all these things. Awesome quarterback, and you have to go and beat a third top 10 team. That Ole Miss team was 11, 12, and 1 to that point. Like that team was really good. Had beaten
I think
Georgia.
all those teams were
Georgia.
top 10 in the
CFP.
They were all
3
top
10 teams exactly, and you handled all 3 of those opponents to get to this point, and they've done that really with an underdog mentality. I think even in the Ole Miss game, I don't know if there was really like an underdog mentality, but I was at the stadium, and it felt like there was a lot of Ole Miss fans, and it felt like almost like an Ole Miss environment, like a pro Ole Miss environment. There was kind of like an underdog nature with the environment, and this team has been awesome in responding to those situations. And look, that's the way they're talking about Miami now, right? They're talking about Miami. This Indiana team has just blown the smoke out of everyone. They, destroyed Alabama and Oregon, and they're going to do the same to Miami and the 8.5-point spread. And it's like, brother, not this team, man. This team's different, and I'm really excited to watch them play on Monday.
No, and listen, let's get right into this game. Obviously, Miami, I think right now, correct me if I'm wrong, we're about 7.5, 8.5 point underdogs against this Indiana team. They're basically saying right now, if Indiana wins, they're one of the best teams in college football history, which is crazy. But the question I want to ask you, obviously, you've seen them have very impressive wins, dominating wins over the likes of Bama, the likes of Oregon. Is this Indiana team just built to bring out the worst in teams, or are these teams just having their worst games possible against an Indiana team that just, is very good? You can't have those kind of games against them.
I mean, Indiana is super well coached and fundamentally sound, and Kurt Cignetti is the hype is real, and his coordinators that he's been with for a while, those guys are legit, and they play a different style of football, right? And you have to be on it, and they can expose you. And they've proven that. I mean, to go and beat Alabama the way you beat Alabama, like, I don't care what you think about Alabama, that's impressive. And to beat Oregon the way that they beat Oregon, regardless of how you feel about Oregon, and their offensive coordinators, a head coach of an SEC school, and the defensive coordinators, a head coach at an ACC school, and they got a lot going on too. Like, regardless, you got to go out there and you got to play. And Oregon and Bama both have some big boys. So, I mean, I have the utmost respect for Indiana and what they've done to get to this point, and they are extremely, extremely impressive and worthy of being considered the number 1 team in the country. And so they've been great. But I do think that just with this Miami team, it's just a different type of matchup for them. And I think Miami, you go back and you watch, some Indiana stuff from, throughout the season, they're human, right? This isn't some they're talking about them being the best team of all time. And it's like, I think that's kind of crazy when you consider I mean, obviously I'm biased, but the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, I don't think you put them in that discussion. I think even
the 19 LSU team, there's
right,
a couple
exactly.
of teams that, have that right to call themselves one of the best teams.
Right. And look, if they do it, they're going to be impressive because the path to doing it would be as impressive as anybody's. But I don't know if I'm ready to call that team, regardless of how this looks, like the best college football team of all time.
No, 100%. Let's take a pause. Did you just pin him on the thing? Press the pin on there, and then the layout might have changed. Dave might have jumped out. So just go to layout and just put up the one screen. Okay, we're back. Yeah. I think it should be already pinned. Okay. All right. My bad, brother. The orientation of the $2 change up. So yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously Indiana, very impressive, but I think the most interesting thing about this game is that we have a common opponent. I think people are very easy forgetting that we both played Ohio State, and I don't know if you heard it, but I don't want people to think that, oh, Ohio State lost to them, they're not that good. They're frauds. Like, listen, brother, they were favorites to win this thing. And we have a common opponent. We saw them, win, but obviously Ohio State missed field goals, missed opportunities, did all these things. Miami goes in there. And I think that was the best Miami Hurricanes performance I've seen in my lifetime, just going in there and just giving belts to Ohio State. Obviously, they had their 14-point, but we were in control that whole game. So you look at that, do you take a lot of that into account when you're looking at this game and how Miami can match up against Indiana through that common opponent? Or is this just you have to wipe all that out because this is essentially the last game of the season? This is the last game for a lot of these guys playing out there today or during the game.
No, I think that there's definitely stuff you take from that. And I think we kind of, just in my world, like I kind of did the same thing when we were discussing Texas A&M, right? These are all just data points, right? Like, you watch, you don't say Miami beat Ohio State and Ohio State had a close game with Indiana, so Miami's better than Indiana. Just, I feel like you see like the style, like stylistically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You see that there's a formula to how did Ohio State limit Indiana? Does Miami have similar personnel to Indiana? I mean, to Ohio State in different contexts, right? And I think when you watch that Indiana and Ohio State game, I think you see that there are ways where Miami can frustrate Indiana if they're able to execute, obviously, because you saw the way Miami executed against Ohio State, and I would personally argue that Miami performed better against Ohio State than Indiana performed against Ohio State. That was a 13-10 game. I thought Miami was way more dominant. I thought Miami was way more in control. I think they did a way better job of limiting Ohio State. Look, you mentioned Ohio State missed a field goal. They also went for it on 4th and 1. They ran a QB sneak from like the 5-yard line. Originally called it a first down. They had to review it, and Julian Sain's knee fell down a little bit short. But like those are like miniature decisions where if they just elected to kick it, they maybe tie the game there, and maybe it's a totally different game. Or if they just run a handoff, or if they get that inch that gives them a first down or so, like it's a totally different game. I feel like that Indiana-Ohio State game was truly a game of inches. And I think when you watch Miami and the way Miami matched up with Ohio State, I think they were way more dominant, especially on the line of scrimmage, than Indiana was against Ohio State. And I think that Ohio State defensive front, which kind of struggled against Miami, gave that Indiana offensive line way more trouble than they gave that Miami offensive line. So I think the trenches is going to be a huge factor in this game. And everyone talks about Indiana and the way that defensive line twists and turns and picks and stunts and all that stuff. And they do all those things. They do it extremely, extremely well. But I think this Miami offensive line is also a little bit different than anything that they've seen. Not just because people were talking about, the size difference. I'm not saying it because they're bigger.
Yeah.
I just think it's because they're better.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I think they're well coached and very disciplined. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a big Canes guy, and I love our trenches. I mean, when you tell me, hey, we're going to win through the mud, through the gutters, I'm like, I love it. I love being the trench bullies of college football. But this whole misconception of like, hey, Indiana's small, they're not that good. I'm like, listen, guys, we saw Aaron Donald run the NFL for a couple of years, and he's an undersized D lineman, and he's about to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best D linemen in history. But, you go, like you said, you give those kind of like, we've seen a lot of good D-lines throughout the year. You've seen a lot of good defenses throughout the year. The A&Ms, the Ohio States, obviously. And you saw that they were able to control them, which leads me to our next point. Where do you think, or what position group do you think is really going to be the spearhead in this game for the Hurricanes? And what position group do you think you're really going to lean on? It can be a whole unit as a whole, or it can be one side of the ball, but what unit is it that's really going to be that kind of X factor in this game against Indiana?
For me, it's the defensive line. I think the most important thing that Miami needs to do in this game is make Fernando Mendoza uncomfortable. He's an absolute surgeon with the football. He's the most efficient and effective quarterback in the country. He's the best. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. It's extremely deserving. He's as good as everyone says he is. And I think the way that you contain him is by you got to get to him. You got to rattle him up. And he's not very easily phased, and he can make throws in the face of pressure, but you got to hit him. That's the only way to get to him. Again, you kind of go back to the Iowa game. You watch the Penn State game. You go back and watch the Ohio State game, and it's just like the moments that you're able to get him and kind of get him off his track and make him have to second guess himself and run around a little bit. That's how you limit and contain Fernando Mendoza. He's going to get his, and he throws those back shoulder balls that will drive you absolutely crazy because he's so elite at delivering those back shoulder balls, and his receivers are so good at going out and getting them. And
receivers, man, those receivers go and get those things, man.
Man, they're good. They're
back.
really, really good.
Those guys
those
go up and get
receivers
those
are for real.
balls, man. They really,
man.
they go up there and they grab them. They snatch them.
Yeah, man. I mean, Elijah Surratt is elite at that. Omar Cooper's really good at that. Cam Becker has emerged as a huge, huge weapon for them.
Had a two-man jump ball and they caught it in the back, like in the end zone, falling backwards.
Yeah, man.
Crazy
they're super, super talented. I mean, again, I don't care what the stars say. People talk about, they have no 5-star. Like, that's a really good football team, man. Like, that's a really good, experienced, older football team, which it wins. That in college football, older teams win. But look, Miami's really. I wrote this earlier in the week on our site. Like, Miami's obviously not as experienced as Indiana, but Miami's pretty experienced. Like, Miami's no slouch.
We got battle wounds for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, from a snap standpoint, it's really not like this huge gap as far as just like how experienced Indiana is versus Miami. So, man, it's going to be an interesting game. But I think the D-line, man, because I think this has to be, Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor were like quote unquote quiet against Ole Miss. It's because they get the ball out fast, and Trinidad Chambliss was awesome. But this needs to be one of those games where it needs to be like the Ruben Bain, Akeem Messidor games where it's just like, This is it, man. They got to empty the tank, and it's got to be 4 quarters of just chasing Fernando Mendoza around the yard. That's the only way that Miami's going to contain this Indiana.
No,
offense.
I mean, and you look at some of the plays, even in that Oregon game. I mean, he fumbled a snap, ran around. I mean, and he recovered his own fumble. But I mean, you talk about a play that could have easily changed. I think they were down 14-7 at that point. They could have recovered that fumble, made it a tie game, and completely changed how that game would have happened. Obviously, he recovered his own fumble. He got the touchdown, whatever. But I do agree that putting Fernando Mendoza, I think that goes for a lot of quarterbacks. You put them in a bind, you make them uncomfortable. Eventually they're going to go make mistakes. But I mean, for me, I also look at, and a lot of people are looking at, obviously, this Miami run game. Do you want to run it every single down? Do you want to give Carson Beck his chances to throw? How do you kind of see this game happening? Do you see this really leaning on this run game, or after seeing how Carson Beck has really kind of, been playing these last couple of games, playing really good football, especially in that Ole Miss game? That last drive was a Carson Beck clinic. People don't give him enough credit for that. And Ohio State wasn't amazing on the stat sheet, but he played a hell of a game, made some big throws. So do you really think that, or do you see, this offense really just saying, hey, Carson, go out there and lead some drives for us, man. We're going to obviously run the ball like hell, but we trust you enough to go and sling this thing around and get us some scores using your arm.
Yeah, no, I think Carson Beck needs to definitely be on, he's going to get his opportunities to make plays in this game. He has to. Miami wants to run the ball. There's no doubt. Miami is a physical front. They're going to run the ball behind that big offensive line. Mark Fletcher has been playing some of his best football, but Carson Beck is going to have his chances to step up in some big moments. I mean, we saw that in the Ole Miss game. We've seen that throughout the playoffs. Like, people can take this the wrong way, but I think Carson Beck has been just an excellent game manager throughout this playoff run. Really, since that,
it's not a knock on him at all.
No, it's not. It's not. He's protected the football. He's made the ball. He's helped Miami move the sticks. He's been great on third down. He's helped Miami sustain some of these really long drives. I think, you run the ball, and I think for Miami especially, I think it's just about dictating the tempo, right? It's dictating terms. And we saw Miami do that against Ole Miss. Ole Miss led the country in plays run per game, or were way up there. And Miami ran almost 90 plays, which is insane. They held the ball for over 41 minutes.
That was crazy. It was insane.
And so, I think that run game and leaning on it is about just controlling the football, eating up clock, tiring out that defense. So in the fourth quarter, when you need it and the game's on the line, you're running plays, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, and that defense is exhausted. That defense has been on the field for way too long, and you can go march down the field to win that game because that defense is playing on empty. So I think that run game, especially early on, it's just about establishing the physicality and the identity of the team. And then Carson Beck stepping up and moving the sticks and hitting his guys when there's opportunities to move it, when you see the matchups kind of open up. And they even use that kind of like screen game as like an extension of the run, how they use Malachi Toney on those screens to get him. Like, that's basically just their version of an outside run. And it just hits and it pops because Malachi Toney is unbelievable. Yeah. And but Crazy. They do a lot of different things to get Carson Beck involved and get the receivers involved. That Carson Beck's going to be a huge factor in this game, and the way that he plays is going to determine whether Miami has a chance to win it or not.
Yeah, and you talk about matchups. Obviously, one of the matchups that I'm very interested to see is how we're going to deal with Xavier Lucas being suspended for that first half of the football game. Obviously, going to that corner room, but. Correct me. I don't. Maybe I'm butchering his name, but Antoine, number 16.
Yeah. Jabari Antoine
came in, made a hell of a breakup. How do you see that corner room kind of dealing with this wide receiver room, which is really, I think the biggest weapon on this Indiana team, those receivers are just physical, get those balls in space. What matchups do you see the Hurricanes, really having to step up in the face of, maybe they might have a slight edge on us, but you guys have the talent to compete. Where do you see, what's like the biggest matchup you're going to be looking at in this game for the Hurricanes?
Yeah, not having Xavier Lucas for the first half, it sucks. That's a super subjective call that has really really big consequences in a national championship game. I think it's ridiculous.
Which I think is crazy. I don't know how they even allowed that. I mean, it wasn't even
right.
Like we can talk about that.
Exactly. That's a whole. We can have a whole podcast talking about that.
About targeting calls and how there's no
about targeting. Right. Exactly. No. No, it's ridiculous. But nonetheless, Miami will be without him, and thankfully, look, they're like 4 deep at cornerback.
Yeah.
They haven't had Damari Brown for this run. He's been dealing with some turf toe-ish type of thing. I think that there's a chance that maybe he plays, and if you get him back, that's huge because he's a big physical corner. OJ Frederic, I think, should be able to play in this game. He's a big physical corner on the outside that you didn't have either one of those guys in that Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem. And then you got Jabari Antoine, who's stepping up, and they've been talking about him. And look, this is game number 16, so this kid's not a true freshman anymore. He's been here since January.
Yeah.
He's been at Miami for over a year at this point, and and he's someone that they're really excited about. Just a young corner that's ready to answer the call. And I think that play he made on Stribling was one of the unsung plays of the game on defense.
Brother, what a
because that was incredible.
What a breakup that was.
He's someone that I think they trust, and in a situation where they have to play him, I think they're willing to play him on the outside. But you got Ethan O'Connor, who's been playing awesome football for them too. He was excellent against Ole Miss. He's a really, really good cornerback that they got from Washington State, who's been awesome for them. So really, Miami's 4, potentially 4.5, 5 deep at corner right now, and those guys are going to have to really step up because again, those back shoulder balls are really difficult to defend. Those receivers are elite at getting them, and again, those are older guys, especially Surratt and Cooper on the outside, that want to be physical, and and limiting them and breaking up some of those plays is going to be big in the efforts of this defense to get that Indiana offense off the field.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think our corners have been amazing. I mean, obviously, you saw it against Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, we knew he was going to get his, but Carnell Tate was a no-show for the performance. Obviously, Ole Miss playing from behind, trying to catch up, doing their thing. And, they made some big-time throws, and credit to that team. But I do see this team, really honing in on that physicality. And I think that's one thing that I think people are noticing is that we are bigger on the outside. We have some size to really combat against it. But, I saw that Oregon game, and I was impressed. It was impressive to see those guys. But looking now at the game as a whole, what do you think are the biggest keys to this game, right? Because right now the notion isn't so much, how can Indiana win this game? It's how can they lose this game? But I believe it's a lot more evenly matched. So what do you think are the key kind of moments or key facts that, are going to give the Canes a chance to be crowned national champions just once those 60 minutes are up?
Yeah, for me, I think Miami is... Again, I think Miami's good enough to win this game.
Yeah.
I don't 100%. View Miami as an 8-point underdog.
Which I think is a slap in the face. Again,
you're right. Truly,
they did 10.5 against Ohio State, and they messed up bad. Whoever picked Miami plus 7.5 made a lot of money on us. So
right, and I think it's similar to that, where it's just the perception and the reality are just not really lining up. And I felt that. The Ohio State game, I understood it more. In this game, I don't quite understand it. I think it's just a little bit too much of everyone kind of getting caught up in the moment of all of this and kind of forgetting who Miami kind of is.
Game went, you're like, Jesus, if they did that to Oregon, Miami.
But Miami's better than Oregon, and Miami's better than Alabama. I think they're honestly totally different teams.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the key to this game is Miami playing clean football. I think what we've seen in this playoff is that if Miami doesn't shoot themselves in the foot, they're really, really hard to beat.
Yeah.
And look, in this Ole Miss game, they shot themselves in the foot over and over again, right? Early in the game, they're driving down the field, and even just 3rd and 1, and you go into the Wildcat when you're running the ball well, and it's just that's a play that I think they wish they would have had back considering how well they're throwing. So it's just decisions like that, the flea flicker. You're kind of going for the kill, but you're running a play in positive territory when you're driving, and that ended up setting you back 15 yards. You have to punt instead of getting points there. The penalties, the false starts, to this, to that, and it Miami loses this game, that Ole Miss game, a lot during the season. That was very reflective of the SMU game and of the Louisville game.
We played a C+ game and won.
Right, exactly. So if Miami plays if Miami plays an A- game, I honestly think that they win. Like, I think if Miami plays clean football, I think if Miami's low on penalties, I think if they're efficient with their opportunities to score and maximize those opportunities and take advantage of their red zone situations and don't try to get too cute and just continue to kind of dictate terms, I don't know if this Indiana team can hang with Miami for 4 quarters, just because they've proven that when they do play well, they're just really, really hard to beat because they're so good, especially on the lines of scrimmage, that's where games are won. Over the course of 4 quarters, it's just, to me, hard to imagine Miami losing if they play well. Like, just straight up getting beat by this Indiana team. And look, it's on the table, but to me, the biggest thing that Miami needs to do on Monday night is just play a clean brand of football. And if they play a clean brand of football, I think that they're going to be crowned national champs.
Which, listen, we've seen them do it, so they have it in them. Against Ohio State, it was the cleanest football I've seen Miami play in a long time. So I know they have it in them. But, I mean, man, it's just crazy that we're here talking about this game still. Like, I'm still trying to, like, soak it in. Like, it's been a couple days since the Ole Miss game, and you're here, man. And then, I mean, I want to dive a little bit into it. I think it's just insane. But this has to be one of the hottest tickets in Miami sports history, right? I've never seen the amount of craziness for a freaking sporting event in Miami like this one ever. Like, I think everyone wants to be at this game. I think there's fans from other teams that want to be at this game right now. Like, it seems like it's like one of the craziest matchups that's ever hit Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, what are the odds that Miami's hosting the national championship and then Miami actually gets to the national championship game in that season? I mean, it's a destiny type of story. Everyone's talking about, like, this destiny Cinderella story for Indiana. What about Miami, man? Like, how cool would it be if Miami as a 10 seed came out and won the national championship on their home field? And dude, this has got to be the hottest ticket in South. I mean, I know someone that told me that they paid more for a nosebleed seat for this game than they did to sit in the lower bowl during the LeBron Miami Heat era. So, like, that tells you a lot. Obviously, those Heat tickets are a little different because you get multiple games in a final. But still, man, this has got to be one of the most. These are Super Bowl. These are like insane Super Bowl prices. Like, I feel like I've never really seen anything quite like this. I don't know. Maybe you guys might have. I'm not like super in tune with like all the Super Bowl prices or anything like that. But it's just like this has to be one of the craziest, most expensive tickets. Probably in Miami history. Like, I'd imagine like American sports. Like, this is nuts. What I've seen.
Up there.
It's got to be.
And it's a college game at the end of the day. It's a college game. It's crazy because I had the conversation with myself like, man, the 90s in Miami, how crazy would it be if we make it all the way and we go there? But we're here now. It's about to happen. We're prepared. I think these boys are battle ready. So before we start wrapping things up, I need to get from you, what is your score prediction for this game?
I haven't really cooked it up, so this is going to be off the dome.
Let's go. Off the dome. Off the dome.
Off the dome. Looks. I think that this is going to be like I think this is going to end up being like a 24-20 type of game. Like, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at with like probably Miami winning. I don't know what the over/under is on this thing, but I think this is going to be a grind, man. This is going to be a war. But Miami's built to win these things, man. Miami's built to win games just like this one, and they've won them to this point. And, man, you know what? I get everything about I can't imagine, knowing a lot of people in this program, being around Mario Cristobal, being around Miami. I don't see it, bro. I don't see them like squandering an opportunity to win a national championship at Hard Rock Stadium. So I'm rolling with the Canes, man. Just everything inside of me believes that they're going to win this game.
And no, even going off of that, man, I mean, this is what Cristobal said. And he even said when he came in, give me 3 years, right? Give me 3 years to build this thing up. And now we're in year 4, and here we are, right? With everything that's gone on, obviously the bad losses, not making AC championship, but we're here. So he's been, a guy that promised this sort of success. And now we're here. I mean, what an opportunity to kind of, cement yourself in history to win this game and to do everything. But when I look at this game, I see it being like I said, a grudge match, bloody knuckles, mud all over everyone's face. I see it being a 20-10 game, man. I see it being a low-scoring 20-10 game. I think we'll be up 7 late. We're gonna kick a field goal to hit the dagger, and that's gonna be it. I think that's how the game's gonna end. It's gonna be 17-10 in the fourth quarter. Maybe we score 1 late in the fourth quarter, and then we kick a field goal to ice it late with like 3 minutes left, and then that's all she wrote. That's how I see it going.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that.
And listen, man, people don't like low-scoring football games, but listen, I think those are good games. A lower-scoring game is a great game.
Those fights in the trenches and those wars on the line of scrimmage. That's football, man.
Texas A&M,
that's
bro,
Miami
that's
football.
a football
So
game.
that's a football. Bro, that game had me on the. I feel like those games, watching it on TV is probably more frustrating than being there in person. Because in person, you just know that like this game is one play away. Like one play away changes this game. Like one play changes this game.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, if they score, then they're probably gonna score and all that stuff. It's like, nope. Like who's gonna break through here? And I think this could definitely be one of those types of games where it's just like, man, like at any moment this thing could teeter totter one way or the other. And I bet there's gonna be a handful of plays that we look back at and be like, those were the difference. Like that's why this game finished the way that it did.
All right. Yeah, bro. Listen, man, I'm excited. I think all of Miami's hyped up. Even people that don't watch football, they're like, I think I'm gonna cheer on for you on this game. Might as well.
Oh, bro, people are super hyped up. Everywhere I go, I mean, I'm going to Publix and it's like Kane stuff. Everyone's got flags on their car. Everyone's everywhere. My daughter's school is doing Spirit Day tomorrow, so all the kids are wearing stuff to school tomorrow. It's just like, it's awesome. Like, this is the best, man.
And
like,
there's no place that loves this matchup more than Christopher Columbus High School. There's no place that loves it more than the C. I'm a C Pride guy. I love this.
Oh,
man.
yeah?
I went to Columbus.
Awesome.
I'm all for this, man. Obviously, we got a lot of C Pride blood in this game. They're obviously super excited, having guys on both sides of the ball, which is a crazy thing to think of, too. You have guys on both sides from your high school. So I'm excited, man. Obviously, Fern, he was on our podcast. Like I said, man, obviously, he's on the other side of the opposition. But, so much credit to him and what he's done. But look, man, I'm excited. I'm hyped. I know you're hyped. So to wrap this up, I'm going to have a couple rapid-fire questions for you, okay?
Let's do it.
So, first and foremost, what's your natty fit, bro? Because this shirt right here, I've worn it all playoffs. I've worn this shirt and hat combo all playoffs, and I've not taken it off. I've worn it every single game. And every single game I've worn this combo, we have won. So I'm sticking with this. That's why I'm wearing it right now. I need to keep the superstition going of this.
Right. So I'm working, right? So I sit in the press box. So I have to go neutral, unfortunately. So I don't know, man. I'm a quarter zip guy. I'll probably wear one of these quarter zips.
You gotta wear something underneath.
Yeah, I'll probably wear. I have like this white Miami Adidas polo, so I'll probably wear it under. Like I'll just have the white collar under. But you got to know that I'm repping it right on my heart, bro. Dang. I got the logo right here, bro.
Hey, bro, that's
Always.
crazy. I forgot that. That's crazy. You're gonna be in the press box. Do you know
I'm
what?
gonna be in the press box, bro.
I remember being at a couple games, and like when I was at UM, because I went to UM too. I'm a UM alum. I used to cover the games back in the day, and like I was on the sideline for the N'Kosi Perry comeback against FSU, and I couldn't celebrate. And I wanted to run on the field and like start high-fiving guys, but I couldn't. I have to be like so mellow about it.
That's right.
But that's crazy. And then
it's tough.
Number two, who do you think ball game ends? Who will be crowned the MVP of this game?
Oof, I think it's gonna be Ruben Bain, man.
Ruben Bain.
I think he's gonna be a terror, and I think if Miami wins, he's gonna play a huge reason in Miami winning this game.
I got a hot take, man. I think it's gonna be one of our old linemen.
Oof.
I think it's gonna be Francis Mauigoa.
All right, bro. I'm here for that. MVP hey, man, you gotta show the big guys some love.
Listen, dude, I played O-line when I was playing ball back in the day, man. So I would love to see an O-lineman get an MVP. And why not, bro? That guy's been our anchor all year on that offensive line.
Oh, he's the best.
So he's been amazing. He's been amazing. And then third and last question. After we win, right? Because we're positive here. After we win, where's the post-game celebration gonna be? I'll be at La Carreta. Where are you gonna be, brother?
Brother, if I can make it to Burden 87th, by the time I'm done doing all my stuff I gotta do, I'm there, bro. On my way home, I live in Palmetto Bay, bro. On my way home, I'm pulling right off of that exit on top. I'm pulling right off on Bird Road. I'm doing a drive-through. I'm getting on 87th. I'm booking it back. To the Palmetto South to get back home, bro. So if we win, I'm definitely driving past La Carreta on the way home.
But listen, man, like I said, this is just a crazy experience. What a season for the Canes. What a season for Mario Cristobal. I don't want to be the jinx, but regardless of anything, what a season for them. And, like I said, I'm very confident they're going to wrap things up. So with that being said, brother, let's wrap this thing up right here, man. I appreciate you being with me today, man. Hopefully we get you at a post-game celebration pod once this is all said and done, brother. But I do appreciate you taking the time and being with us today, man. Thank you, bro.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, listen, wear your orange, wear your hats, rock the Ibis, rock the U. I appreciate you guys for riding with us all season. We got one more game left, and I'll catch you after that for the celebrations. Catch you next time, guys.
Wasn't that delicious?
So good.
Your bill, ladies?
I got it. No,
I got it.
Seriously, I insist. I insisted first.
Oh, don't be silly.
You don't be silly.
People with the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card prefer to pay because they earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors for it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. No!
The Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Visit wellsfargo.com/activecash. Terms apply.
Back pain and stiffness made mornings rough.
Pain made it tough to sleep until I started Cosentix.
Cosentix secukinumab is the #1 prescribed treatment for adults that targets IL-17A, a molecule that may play a role in inflammation that contributes to ankylosing spondyloarthritis or non-radiographic axial spondyloarthritis, 2 types of inflammatory arthritis of the spine. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com. Ask your doctor about Cosentix.
I got real relief with Cosentix.